where we dealt with him restoring the voice of joy and gladness. And I don't know if you were here for that. It was on Sunday night. But I believed and ran and took it. And it wasn't for that week that I had one of those days on that Wednesday. I shared with that a little bit on last Sunday night. So that following Thursday, it was time to hit back, and went and did 3 visits specifically to hit back, and just on a time that when you feel like there's something that you definitely hit back. And I mean, out for blood, right? You know what I mean? And driving by a construction zone, getting out of the car, and I'm praying for a guy in the construction zone, you know, only because I felt like God, you know, had asked for it. And if you've ever argued and have to turn the car around and go, okay. And you know, lo and behold, the guy was receptive with tears in his eyes, and it was, it's just one of those things, you know. And so, I don't know. We ran to Tampa like you do, just for a couple days. We drove to Tampa and drove back. Got back up around 1:30 in the morning this morning. Yeah, this morning, and you know, we joked about it a little bit, and announced, you know, the Griswold versions of the trip, you know, like having to take my wife to the hospital on the way there, you know. All these things, and the voice of joy and gladness. And here, not even realizing it, I don't know, do you ever get crazy calls on your cell phones? Like now, it's like, I have T-Mobile, you know, you get what you pay for, but that's what I get, you know. But it will say like a scam, likely a scam call. I love that, you know. I answered a telemarketer yesterday, and it was using a Granite City phone number. Like, they're getting sneaky, using local numbers now to get through. But there was a call came through. It was during the service, and I wasn't able to, but it said a Granite City office, and it ended up being a Granite City police officer. You never really, you know what is on that other end. So this afternoon, getting ready for tonight, the officer comes to our house, knocks on the door, and I opened I didn't open it. The kids opened the door and said, "Dad, there's a police officer here." And I invited him to come in. He walked right in. I've already been given instructions not to go long tonight. But I already feel like it's getting long here tonight. I'm not going to try to go into a long story, but I really don't feel like it. But we've got a pug in our house by the name of Austin. You know, it's always good to talk about God moving spiritual things and talking about pugs, right? So Austin is our pug. Never in my life, like when I was a teenager, I had a Rottweiler. I had English Mastiff. Like when I want a dog, I want a dog. You know what I'm saying? But my son Gregory wanted this pug, which was like the way it was just weird. What in the world? Why would you want, you know? He'd always said when he goes away to college, he's going to get a pug. And we're just like, well, so, you know, we got another pug. So that's Austin. Many of you maybe have seen Austin's pictures. Well, in the heart of Austin's going to be getting old before long, we wanted to get Austin a wife so Austin could stay in the family for many years to come. I don't know, maybe it sounds... So we did. We got this little girl puppy. Well, over a month ago, she got away. And we've placed it on the Facebook, you know, Gazelle, lost puppy, and nothing called Humane Society. And we had flyers made up with reward to try to find her. It's been over a month. And at that point, you just realized or have the thought, well, this officer stepped into the house and he said, "Are you missing a pug?" And I'm thinking, no way. I'm only sharing this. It's like maybe the smallest of things to you, but it was my Judas puppy, and it was my family that was like, it was wrong. Well, this guy was bragging to somebody how he stole a pug puppy, and that guy came to the police station and kind of said, hey, this guy's saying he took her from this area. Listen to this. This officer, I was blown away. He took and he goes, let me see what's behind this. He went on there. He called the Humane Society. They said, yes, someone did call about a pug puppy. Then the officer started doing research on Facebook, Lost and Found, and saw our post, got our number, and called. That was going on this morning. And I didn't even get I'm thinking all these weird numbers. I didn't even answer it or even listen to my voicemails. And when he's knocking on the door, I'm not knowing what's going on. And when he said, are you missing a pug? I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I can't. Like, it was unbelievable. It's not even like I was praying for it. You know what I mean? I'm trying. There is a point to the story, if you'll just follow me, though. But God restoring the voice of joy and gladness over something that, we'll move on. I'm sure my wife will buy another dog. I mean, it's one of those things that, you heard she did. All right. Well, we got a dog for sale for, but, the dogs have a way of liking me and our family. And so, I was the one that came home and go, wait a minute, where's Princess? Her name's Princess, because she didn't come and greet me. And nobody even realized Princess was gone. And that's when we began to realize. So the dogs like to just, hang out. And so I think she'd it's just one of those things that helped me out this afternoon of not even thinking it was to me, I consider it a miracle. This puppy's been gone for over a month. And an officer goes, someone said they were bragging about taking a pug puppy. I looked into it, did this research, and I found you. Are you missing a puppy? And I'm thinking, God, you just care about even these details, right? The restoration of joy and gladness in our voice. And I tried to tell the officer, like, hey, look, we had a reward. I'd love to give this reward to you. He said, no way. I'm not going to take your reward. He said, just the smile on my boy's face was his reward, he said. And I'm thinking, oh, come on. Give it up for Granite City Police, the police force that I was blessed tremendously by. So we're going to be writing a letter to the chief of police and just bragging on this officer. And who knows, maybe we'll take them some donuts if they don't get offended. But it could go a long ways. My wife speeds all the time through Granite City. And in my first closing tonight, we have Psalm 16. This is where David is being thrust out of one of those times. And they said, go serve other gods. You're not welcome here, out of Israel, pushing him out. So you can only imagine what was going through after being anointed by Samuel, after being a man that worships to such a degree, he caught God's attention. And we find out in the Psalms chapter 16. And, one thing about David was, this man was passionate, but he was very transparent. He had no problem telling you how bad of a day he had, That's pretty good. And a worshiper, it's not that you're complaining a lot, but you're not afraid to be transparent to God. And there's something to be said about that. You're finding yourself present to his presence in the situation that you're in. And when you find out, when you can get to a place, I think that's why Apostle Paul was able to say some amazing words like, in whatsoever state I am in, I found that I can be content. He speaks about not only the power of his resurrection, but the fellowship of his sufferings. These were men and women in Scripture that found out how to find God, not just on the mountaintop and the places of transparency and transfiguration, where the glory of God is literally causing physical bodies to glow. But they also found them in the valleys where David said, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will feel no evil. Even if I'm surrounded by my enemies, I find that there is a spread of a table set up out right in the presence of my enemies. Why? Because I found the place of being able to be present with his presence, and no matter what circumstances that I'm in. Now, when we have this, we find out this is one of those times. This is one of those moments. Psalms 16. He starts going through, oh gosh, this ain't getting any faster. But like verses 9 and 10, he steps into an operation of prophetic utterances that there's no way he understands what he's prophesying. He's literally speaking of the time of Jesus' death in this psalm. And I know that you'll not leave my soul in hell. And he's speaking of this. This is different temples have been destroyed and rebuilt. Generations have gone by after this psalm was penned out of a place of worship. Don't get me started. Places of worship and communion and fellowship. But it's this last verse that I'm trying to get to. Because in Psalm 16, he speaks about, in verse 11, thou wilt show me the path of life, and in thy presence is fullness of joy. And at the right hand there are pleasures forevermore. Come on, somebody that is the desiring of understanding this is beautiful. The presence of God brings pleasures, plural. It's not just one, but in the one, it's joy. Joy comes out of his presence. And the verb here, it's a line, it's a continuous form, to know. And to know in the Hebrew literally will cause me to know. Being in his presence causes me. He brings me into the cause to know. When I stumble into it, what would be by accident, it was no accident. He's causing it to happen. Oh, that's so good. He causes my feet to come into the place that I know his presence, that I know what joy and the pleasures of his presence. Numbers 6. 25 and 26. This is my second closing. Just letting you know, Kika is an amazing chef that we're getting ready to eat from Hawaii. I don't even like onions. He makes this teriyaki Philly cheese sandwich full of onions. I ate it all, and I got another one and ate it all. It's amazing. You're getting ready to eat some good food tonight. He's so good. It's a blessing. He feeds all of our international students, our school. He feeds the school to all of our high school teenagers. He feeds the international students both day and night, in the afternoon and night. By the way, they're going to start coming in just a few short weeks. We had someone speak, they were excited. They learned today. They're just coming and they speak Portuguese and talk to Eduardo. And he's like, well, just wait. There's a lot more Brazilians coming. We go this week to a missions trip to Brazil. So be in prayer. It's going to be amazing. You've heard us speaking about it. The professional soccer player going to get up and share the gospel to these teenagers for salvation and just do an incredible outreach, ministering to some churches. So that's happening this week. We're going to have around 100, if not a little bit more, international students coming in a month to get to pour into. Just in the past week, we use WeChat for China. We got a prayer request, and when they came, they didn't even understand the concept or believe in knowing what to believe in God. And he sent in prayer request. Hey, Pastor Greg, would you pray? And I'm blessed because here's this guy. He was from China, kicked out of another school, and we brought him in, and we're able to help him get in. Now he's in a university. Oh, come on. A great university. I don't remember which one it was right now. Also, there was another. I'm sorry. Great things are happening. I'm excited because it starts coming and stirring up. Gianluca's right now in Denmark getting ready to play for professional soccer. That we're excited about that. From South Africa, happy about that boy, proud of that boy. The nations, I'm telling you, it's incredible. That brings joy to know. Let's affect the nations, right? I want to thank everybody, too. You gave tremendously to the work in Haiti last week. It was just wonderful. So excited and happy about that. Numbers chapter 6 is where I think I left off. This is Moses. Moses is giving his blessings in Numbers chapter 6. That the Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious to thee. That was another form of in his presence, was also as in his face. Now, this is something that Moses had some ways of having to go around because of not being able to see his face. And here we see Moses praying over the people. May his face shine upon you. May his countenance, may his countenance be upon thee and give thee peace. This is the presence of God bringing fullness of joy. And how powerful it is for a leader who said, maybe I couldn't get to that place, but I pray you do. I pray you get his face shining upon you. Now, we know he did. We know he came down glowing at times, right? Because he was able to look into the glory of God in some incredible ways. And he's praying it for his people, knowing that it's in his presence brings fullness of joy. Understanding that when you find those that are closer to him, and it's not that cars are bad or houses are bad, but those aren't things you ask for when you're standing in his presence. It's like a Solomon that says, God, just give me wisdom. Just give me some wisdom. It's like David saying, let me build the tabernacle for you. And even when he couldn't, he said, all right, at least let me bring the provision so that my son can do it. Right? This is the passion that when you're close to his heart, as a woman pours out the alabaster box oil upon, just loving, not asking for anything, and you're in his presence, you find what fullness of joy is all about, and at his right hand, pleasures forevermore. Everybody standing. Oh, we're supposed to take an offering, aren't we? As the worship team comes, the ushers can just bring a bucket here tonight. For those that have a tithe and offering, we'll be able to do that there. But God, I just thank you for your joy and pleasures of your presence. That we're able to find you, not just on the mountaintop, but in the valley. Lord, surrounded by enemies, that we find you where you're present in my life. Lord, that I'm able to commune with you in whatsoever state I am in. That your presence brings the joy and gladness of everything that means it all. That you are our great reward. That you are our portion. And I thank you, God, that this week here for Gateway, that we have a special place of your presence in our life. I thank you for the release of the voice of joy and gladness because of the time they've spent in your presence, in their car, on the way to their new job, at their work, and as they're getting these unexpected knocks on the door of an answer to prayer that they weren't even praying. Lord, I just thank you for the voice of joy and gladness. I thank you for your presence, Lord. In Jesus' mighty name, everybody said amen. For those who can come, we pray for the seed and the blessings of multiplication. Lord, I thank you. Lead us into the paths of life. In Jesus' name. If you have any prayer requests tonight, we're just